Our climate is changing. It's changing in ways that threaten our economy, our security, and our health.
Welcome to Missouri Chamber Direct. I'm Karen Bushman. President Obama has released new rules requiring the nation's power plants to reduce emissions by nearly 1/3 over the next 15 years. This plan has major implications for the state of Missouri, which relies on coal as a low-cost power source. Just days before the plan was released, Missouri stakeholders gathered at the Missouri Chamber's Environment and Energy Conference to discuss how it could impact our state and our economy.
As you may know, safety, reliability, low-cost power, those are the keys to our business, to being successful and to providing the best product for our customers. Every one of those items is brought into question with the Clean Power Plan.
Leanne Tippett Mosby with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources said that the state's power generators have been participating in discussions with state regulators about what carbon reduction strategies Missouri should pursue. One idea is to partner with other states.
Another big question is, are we going to try to do this alone as Missouri, or are we going to try to partner with other states and develop some sort of trading mechanisms? So there's a lot of complexity that's involved in that as well. So that'll be, I'm sure, a big topic of discussion as we move forward.
Meanwhile, national energy expert Dan Byers said the Clean Power Plan will be used as a bargaining chip when the president meets with other world leaders later this year to try to reach a new global climate agreement.
So in December, world leaders are going to gather in Paris to try to come up with the successor to the Kyoto Protocol, have an international climate change agreement. If you ask EPA or other members of the administration, when they point out, this rule here in the U.S. Really is a drop in the bucket. It's about, if it's completely successful by 2030, it will reduce global emissions by less than 2%, about 1.7, 1.8%. That's equivalent to be about 3 weeks of emissions in China. Okay, so all this effort, this massive transformation of the electricity system, that'll be offset by 3 weeks of Chinese emissions. And so the question is very obvious as to, well, why are we doing this? Well, and the administration will answer, we're doing it because if we lead, the rest of the world's going to get on board. So that's something we're following very closely.
In other news, Canadian Consul General Roy Norton delivered the keynote address, highlighting the economic ties between Missouri and Canada.
I represent the United States' best customer, the country with which you have the closest and largest economic relationship. It exceeds the economic relationship between any two countries in the world by a considerable margin, in fact. About $2 billion crosses the Canada-U.S. border every day. There are now almost 9 million jobs in the United States of America that depend on the trade and investment relationship with Canada, including about 163,000 in the state of Missouri.
In his remarks, Consul General Norton also made a pitch for the pending Keystone Pipeline project.
They were hearing consistently from American negotiators that the biggest priority for American negotiators was securing guaranteed access to Canadian and Mexican oil. It was the felt view at the time that the Middle East was unstable, and that this is again 1991, 92, 93, that U.S. reliance on the Middle East was counterproductive. One could argue that not much has changed in that regard. We have developed most of our oil sands since that time. The development's been underway for 40 years, but the enormous growth has happened since NAFTA. We didn't provision to sell it to anybody else because we understood that the United States wanted it, and all of those pipelines have been built, and indeed you're buying a lot of it, and we're not asking for any guarantees that you buy it if you don't want it or need it. We respectfully make the case that if you are buying oil, you might, for all of the reasons I've identified already, might prefer to buy Canadian rather than Venezuelan or from other countries that tend to undermine U.S. foreign policy interests around the world. We don't do that.
Finally, Missouri has a chance to become the 26th state to pass right-to-work protections. Vote projections show an increasing likelihood of a successful veto override next month. We urgently need your voice to make this happen. To join our effort, contact Tracy King at tking@mochamber.com or call 573-634-3511. Thanks for watching.